Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to Grace for Today 5 Minute Devotional. I am your host, Dr. Corrine Johnson, and this is the space where we gather each morning to jumpstart our day with inspiration, encouragement, and the grace we need to move forward. And on this morning, our subject is going to be willing to be interrupted. And our key scripture is going to be coming from Luke chapter 10, verse 37. And I'll be reading from the NV. And it says, Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." And so when it comes down to love is often inconvenient, because if you desire to serve like Jesus, you got to be open to interruptions. And so this means holding onto your schedule with a loose grip. And this may be difficult for many of you because a lot of us don't like to deviate from our plans because it leads to a place of anxiety. But the reality is that people need you when they need you. Their hour of need won't fall nearly or neatly into the part of your schedule set aside for helping others. Jesus taught that we should be like the traveling Samaritan. He allowed his schedule to be interrupted so he could care for a man that was left for dead. Paul had plans to go to Rome, and eventually he made it, but as a prisoner. He was willing to have his plans interrupted to serve where God wanted him to serve. Not every interruption is truly an interruption, not from God's point of view. God might be providing you an opportunity that you didn't even plan for, because God's plans are always bigger than your plans. We just got to know this. So the next time you think, I don't have time for this, follow that with a quick prayer and just begin to say, God, this is what you want me to do, or what you have for me to do, let me know in this very moment. Because we can always find excuses not to help somebody. I have my own problems. I have a previous commitment. I know, that somebody else is going to help, and I have other responsibilities, and I just can't sacrifice. But God intentionally puts hurting people in your path so that you will learn to love like Jesus. Loving others can be more than inconvenient. God might be calling you to make a great sacrifice of your time, your energy, or even your money. And so today, are you ready for an interruption? If the opportunity comes from God, it's not really an interruption. It's your destiny. It's what God has called you to do. And for many of us that are on here this morning that's married, a lot of times we think that that's an interruption, because many of us are selfish and we don't want to serve our spouse. But I come to tell you on today that love is inconvenient, even in your marriage, because sometimes you're going to have to do some things that you might not desire to do, but that's the love of Jesus Christ operating through you, drawing your spouse even closer to you. So be willing to be interrupted, even if it's inconvenient, because once again, if the opportunity comes from God, it's really not an interruption. And so on this morning, we certainly thank God for each of you for tuning in and joining with us for Grace for Today 5 Minute Devotional. And it is my prayer that as you go forth on today, that you will go forth and have a blessed day.